So then you realize that a lot of the ballroom background that I have physically experienced with a partner being close to me, I 100% used when she was far apart from me, or we were on just a one-handed connection. So I just have a tremendous amount of respect for the precision that the ballroom requires.
So talking about how your foundation and standard has you feel has really set you up for success in smooth. How when you're kind of judging a really great smooth couple, you're looking for that strong standard closed frame, closed hold, body connection foundation. One of the things that kind of struck me when I was going through your dance mastery camp lectures this year was how focused you were on making sure that especially the leads knew where their body alignment was in their own body, how their posture and how their position over their foot and their position over their weight, if they were split weight or on the foot, how that would impact those open figures. And I just wanted to start off by saying, and I think I've mentioned it on the podcast before, I have really tried, mainly since watching that lecture, to incorporate that more with my male students, taking the develop A out and trying to create a different figure with the same positioning so that my leads can understand this is how I need to lead you into the figure line or the picture line before we actually open up and break hold and create an open figure out of it. So what is your process for conveying that to students, or what was your own realization like where you're like, I want to do these open figures in smooth, but I have to figure out how to do them in closed first before I can sustainably do them in open?
Well, my realization, I don't know when it came. It probably came as a process, but I remember knowing that my margin of error in standard was tiny. Meaning, you were this close. So if you were not on the foot, meaning the male dancer, let's say, the female dancer was most likely not on the foot because there was such a, dependency in a good way, or in whatever way you want to look at it. But there's that limitation that you couldn't deny. And it was, you had to accept it and deal with it. And so I spent a lot of years trying to get on my foot so I can get my partner on the foot so she can be balanced, so she can produce the line that she needs to produce and make us ultimately look, wonderful, and not necessarily do the line at all costs, no matter what, as I usually see, dancers trying to do. They just want the final product, but they're not willing to go maybe through some of the process before getting the real deal, not instant coffee, but really the real product. So that's when it came, meaning when I saw smooth, or when I was doing smooth, I realized that that the form is so different and it lacks a lot of the discipline, or it just doesn't put you in a situation where, if you make an error, you may feel like you're not affecting your partner, whether you're female or male. You just feel like, well, we're far apart, we're just holding hands. And so as I started to go a little more deeper into it, and as you dance on a high level, you realize that, if I breathe in the wrong direction, she's going to go off balance. It literally goes down to that, precision. So then you realize that a lot of the ballroom background that I have physically experienced with a partner being close to me, I 100% used when she was far apart from me, or we were on just a one-handed connection. So I just have a tremendous amount of respect for the precision that the ballroom requires. I mean, we're doing all this stuff, and we're only a couple of boards apart, meaning I'm standing on, a board of floor on one foot, hopefully, and the girl is standing on her foot on the board, next to my board. And that's it, really. That's the space that we deal with every single time that we should change weight. So if you think about it, we're talking about, maybe a 2x2 uh, floor space that we can deal with. And in the smooth, I think that's a little bit, what's the word? not respected, I think sometimes, you know. So that's kind of where my ballroom, because when you mentioned, let's say you said, if I was judging, you may think that from my ballroom background, I'm looking for the ballroom form, meaning close position, body contact, male frame, but that's not true. That's just close position. That's just part of smooth. You know, when they go to close position, it's very obvious what things are good and what things are not. But even if they're dancing apart, I feel like I'm very much seeing whether, you know, things we just discussed are happening or not.
Yeah, and I think if anyone has watched your routines with Tatiana, you would be it would be very obvious to you exactly what you're talking about. I watch the two of you, and I can see that even when you are, you know, completely broken away from hold, that you are still moving your body and you're still moving your spine and your sternum in a way that is almost leading her through whatever shape she's creating, even though there's not a physical connection there. So I guess even in an amateur setting, in a pro-am setting, what have you, creating that feeling of you're still on that 2x2 square, that you're still connected even if you aren't physically um, I think is a good takeaway. And I think that's really evident in the way that you have styled your own dancing, even in your professional career.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. And I think once you experience being on a 2x2 for a minute and a half times 5, you know, where the fifth dance is quick step and, you know, your legs are already, you know, like jello, there's nothing like it. You can't, you know, you look at smooth, and not to say at all that it's easier. It's not that. We're not saying one is easier, one is harder. It's just, you know, you can separate whenever you want. You can get together whenever you want, you know, you have the freedom of being apart, and you know, then you just have to be on your foot, but you're not really affecting your partner in a physical way. So what, you know, once you experience that, I think that's why I think ballroom is important for smooth people, not just because they learn a close hold. That's not, you know, don't get me wrong, close hold is just a small part of it.